What's going on, everybody? I'm Kevin from Cigar Pro.
I'm Jesse from Cigar Pro.
And everywhere we go, everybody raves about Jessica's travel humidor. She recently did one for a coworker, and now it's my turn. I finally get to be one of the cool kids. So that's what Jessica's here today to show you how she makes these and how easy it's going to be for you to make one for yourself.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to start with how I would normally set myself up, which I bought a whole bunch of these off of Amazon. What it is a baking sheet. It's like rubber. So I use that as my protector wherever I am because it's easy to peel stuff up if you're using glue or anything. And of course, I don't use it to cook. So like Kevin said, I just recently made a humidor covering for my coworker. The one he showed you, this one I did, is actually stickers. So this is not what we'll be using. This was like something I experimented with a few years ago. But everyone has cigar bands, and so that's what we're going to use. So basically, you need your cigar caddy or whatever you're using, because I've also made other things with cigar bands, like these little trays that I hold stuff in, like these little trays I put cutters and lighters and stuff in. So I've done that with some of my cigar bands. So what you'll need is the item you're working on. And then you're going to need cigar bands. And I also use other mediums. So I use cut up different textured textile type paper that has different patterns and stuff on it to use. You need rubbing alcohol, and you need like these cotton pads and some Q-tips. And I also have my scissors, I have some water, some decoupage, and I'm using the decoupage that is going to give you like a matte finish and shine. I have a bag of different sized paintbrushes there, and then this is the patterns that I'm cut up and I'm going to use on Kevin's today. The reason why you need the rubbing alcohol is because you want to get any kind of grease or anything, or, you know, as much as the dirt and mineral, like all the I don't know, your oils from your fingers is what I'm trying to say. You want to kind of just give it a good wipe down. And if it's real dirty, that's what the Q-tips are for. Also, I want to mention everything that you need to do this project, you pretty much have in your household already. If you don't have the decoupage, you can go to the dollar store. It's $1.25. You can buy it there. It's how cheap it is. The same thing with paintbrushes. You can get paintbrushes and all that stuff at the Dollar Tree and not break your bank to do this project. Because, I mean, you already have a cigar band, so you don't need to go spending a ton of money. And as far as scissors, I'm going to use these little ones, but you can use any size scissors. You know, I have these. You know, whatever you're comfortable with. You can use an X-Acto knife and all that stuff. So, I also want to point out when you are putting the bands on, the reason why I don't overlap the bands is because you only have so much space, right? And so if you keep layering, it's going to be too thick. And it's going to look wonky, or it's going to go over the border. Unless you were wanting to go over the border, like I did. I covered everything except for these little black pieces you see, the handles and stuff. So once you're done wiping this down really good, and you're satisfied with it, and you're done, and this had so much dirt on it, so I'm glad I wiped it down. And I mean, you can, if you have like a sticker on it, like this one, I'm just going to go over. I'm not trying to rip it off. There was another sticker that just had glue dots on it. It didn't leave any residue. But if it does, you could probably use Goopy Gone or, something like that. So anyway, so that's that. So then the next thing I do is I tend to usually put, sorry, bear with me. So I usually take the pattern that I cut up and I cut it in these little triangles. And then I also cut it in strips, different strips and stuff. Now, you can do it a couple different ways. You can start laying the bands down and then kind of working the pattern in between with the triangles, or you can lay the strips down and then kind of start laying your bands down and, work it that way, and then still add some of the triangles to, take away. To add, like, when there's gaps, like, you don't always have to overlap. You can leave some of the picture that's behind, because that kind of gives the illusion that there's bands there, or at least an image there, not just the black. Also, I went ahead and pre-cut some of the bands like this. So like you have these, right? Like, so we're talking about overlapping. So if you kept overlapping and having to overlap, like I said, it's going to build up too much. That's why I like taking most of the bands and cutting them down. So I'm not having to overlap over lots and lots of different bands. So yeah, so see how I just cut it. So, all right. So now what I do is I get my decoupage. I also have a little thing of water and a rag, just in case I kind of want to wipe something pretty fast. So then choose toothbrush. It's a pretty decent sized one. That's what I'm using. And then, like I said, I cut a lot of this already. So what I'm going to do for his, though, is that I'm going to lay some of these down. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that, and then I'll show you when I get a couple down. And like I said, you want to be careful around the border here, because if you get too much decoupage on it, it's going to kind of build up and then you're going to have like a texture on top of that border. So, and if you do that and, can't get it up or can't get it off without like ruining everything you just did, leave it. You can paint over with black paint, and you can get texture paint. You can do all kinds of, different stuff with that to hide it and fix whatever. Especially when you do one for the first time, you're just kind of experimenting. And you can add stickers and, do all of that. I'm not doing stickers on his like I did mine. I'm just going to work with the bands. All right, so right now I just put a little layer on this top part here. And I'll show you. All right, so that's all nice and decoupaged and sticky. So then what I do is I just sometimes just dab a little bit at the ends, and then I start placing it down. On the paper, and then I take my paintbrush and just kind of push it down and start wiping over it. That gets some decoupage on the top of it, and it starts adhering it to where you want it. I mean, they make all kinds of like neat little tools too that you can pick up, like that help, get it in the corners here really good and flat. And I just use the tip of the paintbrush because I'm not fancy, I guess, and don't use some of those fancy tools, but they make all that stuff, and they also sell that at the Dollar Tree. So this is a fairly inexpensive project that you can do. All right. So what I'm doing is, like I said, I had 2 different textile patterns that I printed out and cut. So I'm kind of doing them randomly. Putting just one down and putting 2 different ones and kind of staggering it and changing it up. And this you can overlap just a little bit, but like I said, I'm already putting you're going to be putting so much down that you want it to stay kind of right up level with the lip of the border on the box. If you do too much, it's just going to rise above and it's kind of not going to look right, or it's going to be a little uneven. But you do whatever you feel you need to do and like to do. Gotten the whole front part covered, and you can kind of already see like the different pattern going on. So then basically now you're going to do that this side, and then you're going to do it on all the smooth parts around the border. Also, I like to take this ball. I think Kevin doesn't even use his, so he might cut his off. But this way you can put it back on. It doesn't get any glue or anything on it. So I'm going to go ahead and get the whole entire base down. And then we'll come back and I'll start showing you how I do the cigar bands. Okay, so I have now covered all of that with the different texture patterns I printed out. Normally I do the corners, but Kevin did not want that, and he wanted to leave the rest of the black border too. So now we start doing the bands. So how I do it is this is the top because this opens. So make sure all the bands are, facing this way. So then when I flip it, all the bands go this way. So I don't know. It's just how I do it. You do it however you want. Okay. So now, like I said, I already kind of picked out some bands and cut some. So you put it here so I can figure out what I want to start with. He's got a couple big ones that he liked, so I may have to just start with like a big one and go from there. And what I do also do is I will fit a big one on, and then I trim some of it off because you have no choice. You can't fit everything exact. So I mark where I need to cut here, cut there. So then I had to get another paintbrush because this one was getting goopy, and then I put some water on it, and then I let it kind of drip, and then I go back and forth between the two. So yeah, so if you also don't like where you put something, you have a little bit of time to pick it up and move it somewhere else or put it off to the side. But you don't have that much time. The decoupage does sometimes dry pretty fast, especially because I'm just kind of doing thin coats. I'm not putting too much on. That's another thing. Don't use too much. You'll probably regret that. because sometimes if it saturates the band too much, paper too much, it will not be fun to get up. It'll pull up whatever else you've done and all the work you put in, and you'll be miserable if that happens. Right, just a couple more.
Let's meet the dictator.
All right, this is just a few to give you an example of how it's going. So I'm trying to put my placement strategically, kind of. That's why I said I cut the bands and make them, smaller, because it's a lot easier to overlap and it doesn't add too much thickness to the case, but you definitely, don't want to make it too thick, because then it will go over that nice border you have and then look wonky. And again, like I said, you can mix and match. You can do, stickers and bands and overlap the bands however you want to do it, because then you don't have to do the background, because if you're going to overlap bands, it's going to cover up a good portion of the base, which is black here. So just keep adding. And then the nice thing is, on some of these bands, you can get multiple things off the band. Let me see if I have any that I can kind of show you. Let's see. Yeah, so especially on Drew Estate, on Corona. So this one is the tiny little 20th. This one is the Perla de Mar. So they're really tiny, and then some have these gold looking little coins, or they say something, even the Saganorsa has these little ones. So depending on where you cut, you could have other things that you can cut off of it, and that's good filler. Those small ones fill in these little gaps perfectly, and it doesn't cover up, too much of the band. Makes it nice. Most bands are recognizable, but some are not, and it's nice to not cover up everything. You want to be able to still make out what that particular band is. Which makes it nice. And again, for this, having the background already is having bands on already, so I don't have to constantly try to fill too much. Yeah, so I have some of these small ones that I can use in certain areas. And what's nice is if you kind of have an X-Acto knife, or, if your scissors are pretty sharp, you can kind of, smooth it down in the corner there and get it really flush with the lip of that border. And this one's too big for what I'm going to do, so put that off to the side. You know, and even like on some bands that I cut, like the ends still had these cool decorative pieces. So I just keep them because I can always use them like for something else. So also too, it's like nice because it's like a way to kind of express your own personality, the things that you've tried that you like, you know. And you've already bought the cigar and smoked it, so the bands in a sense are free, you know. So that makes it nice. So you're just adding some flair to something you use when you go travel with your cigars. So it goes pretty fast after this, and you don't have to sit there and really stress too much. You have done the hardest part after you get the background done. If that's even something that you end up doing, like I said, it's all up to you and your preference, things that you like to do.
Big.
I can hear my dog in the background. Just enjoying herself right now. Look at her feet or something. I don't know what she's doing. Did you think again? Yeah, so what I do too is that I know I'm working on the top, but sometimes I just kind of skip around and put stuff on this part just because I get sidetracked and kind of go off and start doing something somewhere else. That's okay. It's not like you have a ton of decoupage that you have to worry about. You're only kind of adding decoupage as you're putting the band down, so if you see a place that instead and you're like, oh, that's where I want to put the band, just put it there. Don't worry about the decoupage isn't adding too much more of a layer of thickness, so you should be okay. So I'm pretty satisfied with the top right now. Like I said, I went down and started putting some here, and that's what I'm going to do is also fill all around and on the back. But as I go, I'll always probably add more. And I just keep filling it until I'm satisfied with the way it looks. So I'm going to continue here, and then we'll be back in a little bit. All right. So basically, I'm pretty satisfied with the way it came out. But what I like to do sometimes is just like let all of this completely really dry for a whole day. And then I kind of, will look back at it and see if I need to add anything more. But Kevin, why don't you come over here and check it out?
Oh my god!
Be careful, it's obviously tacky.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, it's a little tacky, but I love it. It came out beautiful.
Now, the one thing I wanted done with mine, which she did, was she left. I liked the black outline, and I didn't want my corners done, but I like the distinguishing look between the bands and the black outline. If you look at yours,
Yeah, so mine is overlapping.
hers is the same humidor. It's got the raised edges, but she went all the way over all the humidor, which it looks great.
Yeah.
But for me, I just like the way.
Yeah, the only thing I left black was the clasps.
I just like the way it all kind of looks that way. That's my personal preference. So that was one thing that I wanted her to do.
Also, I did want to say is, like there's some that might be, up a little higher. You can take like a little blade after it's completely dry and just kind of go around and redefine all those edges and then do a final decoupage, coat it over everything. Like I said, I might go back in and add like a few little bit more details, but for the most part.
Yeah, I love it because it's just got so much depth. You look at it and you can see all the different cigars.
Unfortunately, this one's a small one, so I didn't get to put nearly any. I mean, I had so many booked out, and then I'm like...
Obviously with the big ones, and then they make the giant cases that hold like 30, so you can get a ton of cigars.
Oh, this dip's really good if you.
So
No.
I
So like I did,
absolutely love
like with this, I decided, to make like little carrying trays. You can throw your, your cutter.
Yeah, and you
So
just,
I did-
got these at what, Hobby Lobby?
No, I got these at the Dollar Tree. I'm
the
telling
tray.
you, everything that you need is at the Dollar Tree. So they sell these little wooden things. Hold on, it's got stuff in it.
Oh, okay.
There. Okay.
Yeah, I love these. Like I said,
Yeah, and so what I also do, I don't know if Kevin's gonna want me to do it on his, but I take a little bit of black acrylic paint and I water it down and I dab it in a little paper towel and then I do a wash. So that's how it gets that antique look, and that's kind of what I did with the other person's. But I don't know what it's gonna
I love
do.
the way the antique looks with this with that black acrylic, but I like this one for mine. I like how it's shiny, and I prefer.
Well, it's not supposed to be shiny, but anyway.
Yeah. Well, because of the bands are
Oh, okay.
the bands are shiny.
But it is a little shiny.
It is a little.
If you
shiny,
used
but-
a gloss, then it's too much. That's why I always say use a matte. It's way better than using a gloss. But anyway, I hope this helps anybody who's interested in even just doing any kind of band, cigar band art. I mean, it's just something that I do.
Yeah.
But I'm tired, and you're welcome.
Thank you very much. I absolutely love it, and all my favorite cigar. I mean, obviously these are my favorite because these are the ones I smoke.
Yeah, there's more to add, though. I know there is. I just...
Yeah, that's what you always do. You always just let it sit, and you come back to it like a day or two later, and you're like, you know what? I'm not happy with that, or I
Well,
think I see it.
also,
I see a
too-
spot that I could add some
Well, also,
more.
too, is, I'm trying to do the video. So, if I wasn't doing a video, it'd be different. I'd get up, walk around. Takes me like a couple days. And when I did the, my employees, travel case humidor, it took me about 2 or 3 days, and because I take my time, I want it to look nice. Not that didn't come out nice.
Oh yeah, it came out beautiful, and like you said with that one, you can use stickers.
Yeah,
You don't have to
you
use
can mix
cigar
and match.
band.
You can use both on there. You can do some stickers, some cigar bands. You can. I mean, they make all different kinds of product at craft stores. Even the Dollar Tree has a crafting section, and it has sticky paper. So you could do the background with the sticky paper instead of doing what I did. If you wanted like a solid color, you can paint these. I mean, you can do all kinds of stuff. So just get creative and, you know, whatever you're interested in, like, do that.
Cool. All right. Well, hopefully everybody enjoyed Jessica's tutorial. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Jessica will come back in and answer any questions that
Kevin will let me know.
I will let her know that she has some questions to answer.
To answer, yes.
So perfect. All right,
Thank you.
everybody. Enjoy.